Have you ever replayed a conversation in your head over and over, hours after it happened? Maybe you said something slightly awkward. Maybe you're worried you sounded stupid, and now your brain won't let it go. You lie in bed at night, staring at the ceiling, replaying the same moment, editing your words, imagining what you should have said instead. And the strange part is, you know it's pointless, but your mind keeps going anyway. Most people think this means something is wrong with them. They think overthinking means they're weak or anxious or broken. But the truth is far more interesting. Your brain isn't malfunctioning. It's trying to protect you. And once you understand what your mind is actually doing, overthinking starts to make a lot more sense. Think about the last time your brain refused to let something go. Maybe it was a message you sent. Maybe it was a job interview. Maybe it was a moment where you felt embarrassed. Your brain keeps returning to the memory, analyzing every detail. What did they mean when they said that? Did I say something wrong? Did they notice that mistake? And before you realize it, you've spent 20 minutes thinking about something that happened weeks ago. Sometimes it even jumps into the future. You imagine conversations that haven't happened yet. You rehearse arguments. You predict possible failures. It's exhausting. But here's the important thing. Your brain isn't doing this randomly. Your mind is running what psychologists sometimes call a prediction machine. Your brain's main job is not happiness, it's survival. And survival requires one thing above all else: predicting danger before it happens. Thousands of years ago, this ability kept humans alive. If your ancestors could imagine what might go wrong, they were more likely to avoid it. So the brain evolved to constantly ask one question: what could happen next? Most of the time, this system works quietly in the background, but when your brain senses uncertainty, it switches into high alert. And uncertainty is everywhere. Social situations, important decisions, future plans, relationships. Your brain hates not knowing what will happen, so it tries to solve the problem the only way it knows: by thinking harder and harder and harder. At first, this feels productive. You tell yourself you're analyzing the situation, you're preparing, you're being careful. But something strange begins to happen. Instead of finding answers, your brain starts creating more questions. You replay the moment again. Then a new possibility appears. Maybe they thought this. Maybe they meant that. So your brain runs another simulation, then another, and another. It's like opening new tabs in your browser. At first, you only have 1 or 2, then 5, then 10, then 20. Eventually, everything slows down. Your brain is doing the same thing. Every scenario opens a new mental tab. What if they misunderstood me? What if I fail? What if I regret this decision? What if something goes wrong? And because the future can never be predicted perfectly, your brain never finds a final answer. So the thinking continues, round and round. This is the thought loop. Your brain searches for certainty, but certainty doesn't exist. So the mind keeps generating possibilities, hoping the next one will finally feel safe. And this is where overthinking becomes dangerous. Because overthinking feels productive. It feels like you're solving something. But most of the time, nothing is actually being solved. Instead, thinking quietly replaces action. You delay decisions. You postpone conversations. You hesitate. Not because you're lazy, but because your brain is still trying to finish the analysis. If I just think about this a little more, I'll figure it out. But the answer never comes, so the cycle continues. And eventually the cost begins to show. Overthinking drains your energy. It creates self-doubt. It magnifies small problems into massive ones. A tiny mistake suddenly feels catastrophic. A simple decision feels impossible. And the strangest part is, the more you think, the less confident you feel. Because your brain keeps generating new ways things could go wrong. But here's the part most people don't realize. Overthinking is often an emotional safety strategy.
Your brain is not just trying to predict the future, it's trying to protect you from emotional pain, embarrassment, rejection, failure, regret. Imagine you say something awkward in a conversation. Your brain replays the moment again and again, not because it enjoys torturing you, but because it's trying to prevent that feeling from happening again. If I analyze this enough, I won't make the same mistake next time. The mind believes that more thinking equals more safety, so it keeps digging, looking for the perfect explanation, the perfect plan, the perfect response. But perfection is impossible. And that's the trap. Your brain is trying to remove uncertainty from life, but uncertainty is part of being human. No amount of thinking can eliminate it. And once you realize this, something interesting happens. You stop seeing overthinking as a personal flaw. You start seeing it as a system that's working overtime. Your brain thinks it's helping you. It believes it's protecting you. But the protection has gone too far. Instead of preventing mistakes, it prevents movement. And this is the quiet shift that changes everything. The solution to overthinking isn't forcing your mind to stop thinking. That almost never works. The real shift is understanding that clarity rarely comes from thinking alone. Clarity usually comes after action, after making the call, after sending the message, after trying something uncertain. Action gives your brain real information. Thinking only creates possibilities, and possibilities are endless. This doesn't mean you should stop reflecting or planning. Thinking is valuable. But thinking without action becomes a loop, and loops never resolve themselves. Sometimes the brain simply needs a signal that says, we're moving forward anyway. And strangely enough, once movement begins, the mind often quiets down, because the brain no longer needs to simulate the future. It's already happening. So if your brain constantly overthinks, if it replays conversations, if it imagines every possible mistake, it doesn't mean your brain is broken. It means your brain cares deeply about protecting you. It's trying to prepare you for the world. It's trying to keep you safe. But sometimes safety comes from accepting something uncomfortable, that you will never have perfect certainty. And that's okay, because life was never designed to be fully predicted. It was designed to be experienced. And that means sometimes choosing action even while uncertainty is still there. So now I'm curious about something. When does your brain overthink the most? Is it late at night, after conversations, when you're making important decisions? Let me know in the comments. I read every one. And if this video made you feel a little more understood, that's exactly why this channel exists. Here on Psychology of Easy, we explore the strange psychological patterns behind everyday struggles, the habits, thoughts, and mental loops that almost everyone experiences but rarely talks about. So if you enjoy understanding how your mind works and why it sometimes makes life harder than it needs to be, consider subscribing. Because sometimes, the moment you understand your mind, everything starts to feel a little easier.